Hey there, it's Pete over at Sampleist, and today we are checking out the Abbey Road One Soaring High Strings from Spitfire Audio. Abbey Road One is a composer favourite, and now Spitfire Audio have added the long-awaited Soaring High Strings. This final new dimension to Abbey Road One truly turns it into a one-stop library for all of your orchestral needs. It is capable of producing dynamic and extremely professional productions. The Soaring High Strings promise to deliver romantic and emotional legato, alongside rich sustains and dynamic staccato. With their blend of 16 first violins and 12 second violins recorded in Abbey Road Studio One, these are a must-have companion for any composer. The Abbey Road One Soaring High Strings, download at 8.5 gigabytes, are housed in the Abbey Road One dedicated plugin. There are 2 Simon Rhodes mixes and a total of 10 different microphones. They are selling for £49 or $49 or €49 depending where you are, and if you already own the Abbey Road One Orchestral Foundations, log into your Spitfire account to see if you have any discounts. I'd like to take the opportunity at this point to thank Spitfire Audio for sending over a free license for the Abbey Road One Soaring High Strings. I had an absolute blast working with them. Did get them a couple of days before they released, just to really get a feel for them and check them out. And of course, while we get the library for free, it does not influence our thoughts, ideas, or judgments. In this video, we are going to check out the Abbey Road One Soaring High Strings, look at the 3 articulations and different mixes, and of course how the instrument works. And then I've thrown them into a 45-minute composing challenge just to see what the different articulations sound like in the mix. So without further ado, let's check out the Abbey Road One Soaring High Strings. And here we have the Abbey Road One plugin loaded up. And of course, you can load this up in complete control also. I have preloaded the Soaring High Strings, but let's just do a quick recap of how we get there. If you click on the drop-down menu, you can see we have the orchestra, the strings, brass, woodwind, percussion, all the orchestral sections, and then you have the selections down the bottom. Now you can filter these on the left hand side and then choose your selection. Well, of course, we're looking at the Soaring High Strings, so let's double click on these. Now, these are the long-awaited high legato strings, and of course they are the final addition to the Abbey Road One library. And out of the box, they sound just like this. Now, I love the rich sound and the room sound of Abbey Road Studio One. It just is full of life and character. And of course, we have the legato. The legato sounds gorgeous. And you've got the playable range, so we have a low G. If I just bump my controller up a couple of octaves. Got a high D, and we go up to a high E. I did a extra D sharp there that I didn't intend to. Now, if you're eagle-eared, as it were, and possibly listening on headphones, you'll notice these are pre-panned as well. So I haven't accidentally sent everything to the left, but obviously you would expect to find the violins on the left, and they are very agile. So I'm not using any mod wheel control there at all. Now you'll notice when I'm doing the just really simple melodies and examples, I'm controlling CC11 and also CC1 at the same time. And you get that amazing dynamic richness going on and that control. Okay, so just running up and down the entire playable range. So that is the legato. Now, if you look in the middle, we have the reverb controls. So of course you can, let's put a big amount of reverb going on. And it doesn't really get too silly. So even at max reverb, it's still very, very usable. And of course, you can add third-party plugins if you decide to. So let's turn the reverb off because we're going to talk about the release as well. And release, for me, is one of the single most important controls in the Abbey Road One orchestra because you want everything to fit and all the sections to release at the same time. And sometimes, I remember with the, I think it's a high strings trills maybe, the default release is very, very short. So you want to be able to control that, which obviously you can. And now this is set right in the middle. So you can hear that release. Okay, so it's really, really generous. It sounds lovely to me. It's my kind of release. There we go. If you have a preference, that's what mine would be. So I've turned the release down to make it shorter, and of course turn it up, it'll make it longer. Okay, so having that control is really, really important. And then you've got the tightness. Now, if you want, let's just turn it right down. So the tightness will almost play the entire sample, as it were. So if the tightness is right at the top, to sync it to the grid, as it were, in your DAW, you want the tightness really, really high because it will instantly play the note. And if you're doing agile runs, it makes more sense to do it there. Oops, I went a bit too high. Okay, so I'm just moving around, but okay, so the tightness is it's just playing the sample really, really sort of quickly. So when the tightness is down, you get like the full sample. You get the it's almost like the harmonic buffering at the start. So again, it's absolutely perfect for lyrical writing, but both of them serve their purposes. So I'd ramp the tightness up if I was doing runs, some really fast lines. If I want it to be more expressive, romantic, I'd bring it down. Or just leave it in the middle because, to be honest, when I did compose with it, I didn't really feel the need to change it. But there we go. You have that control. And of course, you've got the legato offset. Now, the legato offset is really, really important because if you compose to the grid, so you might use negative delay to compensate, you want the legato to just be really on the money. So you would adjust the legato offset just to make it fit exactly what you are producing. So it's great having that control as well. Now let's look at the longs. So the longs, if I was to play a couple of chords, They sound lovely wherever you're playing. So whether it's high or low, you just get that room sound, that character. They sound great. And of course, you can play single lines. There'll be no legato because they're longs. Possibly the most obvious statement I've ever made in any of these videos. But hey, we'll keep it there. Yeah, they sound gorgeous. And then you got the spiccato. And I've actually realised that I'm just playing it without reverb. So I've just brought that up a little bit. Now, the release, I'm just double checking I'm not really changed a huge amount there. So, okay, the spiccatos. So really velocity sensitive. I don't want to give you the sound of me bashing my controller. But you get the idea. So yes, there's a little bit of sound. Okay, jumping around a little bit there. Okay. Okay, so a little bit of pedaling going on there. But you get the idea. Spiccatos, they sound really, really just detailed, and they do cut through the mix, as you're going to find out later in the composition. It's that release. Absolutely love it. Really agile as well. So you get the spiccatos. Now we have the usual Spitfire controls on the right hand side, and of course we get the mixes as well. And there are two Simon Rhodes mixes going on as well. So if I quickly go back to the legato. So this is the first mix, and I've presented the video in this mix. And then I'm just going to turn that one off, bring this one on, and load it up. So you can see the top left-hand side. It's a good time to talk about memory footprint. It's not absolutely huge at all, and it loads really, really quickly. Then you've got some vintage mics, so let's just bring a couple of these up. You've got a pop close as well. Just going to dial in my own little mix. Let's get a bit more vintage. If I bring up the close, we should have quite a bit of detail. So I've got 3 signals going on. We're looking at just under 800 megabytes. It sounds really funny, but of course, as soon as I heard that, I thought, yep, close, but also vintage. And I do talk about making spaghetti western music quite a lot. And that is absolutely perfect. It's kind of dialed in the most amazing mix straight away. So just scrolling through, you got all of these. Of course, I'm going to load up the outriggers just so we can hear them, because they are my favourite. It all sounded like I tutted then. There's no tutting going on. It all sounds wonderful. So the outriggers. And of course, here it's loading. I'm not entirely sure. It's going up. It's absolutely fine. So just see where it gets to. We're back to the days where I used to vamp while things are loading. And I've got everything to speed up quite a lot. But I'm not entirely sure why the outriggers are being as slow. So I've actually not loaded up the other mics before. so they're not saved. There we go. Anyway, 309 megabytes. Let's start on a different note. Yeah, that does sound gorgeous. I'm just going to bring that one in as well. Yeah. There you go. So you got different mic mixes, and then we have, there's actually no microphone mix on. Oh, there is. Outriggers. If I click on the effects, and then everything that you see in the middle, you can control using slightly bigger dials. And there we go. That is Abbey Road One Soaring High Strings. Now, what I've done, I've put it into a composition. You know, we like to make compositions. We feel it's really important to hear these in a composing context. But we don't always have hours, because we obviously make a lot of videos, we're working composers. It's not making excuses at all. It's just we really want to show these instruments in some kind of a mix. Now, I decided that there's going to be lots of orchestral examples. So I wanted to do something that was more cinematic underscore, something for TV. So I've used the Olafar piano, for example, and some different Abbey Road One selections. My usual Spitfire audio go-tos, so it's all Spitfire audio, and I gave myself 45 minutes. Now, of course, there's loads of ways that I would add to this composition. I would embellish on it, I'd develop it, but I just wanted to show how quick and easy it is to work with Abbey Road One Soaring High Strings in a short time frame, because of course composers sometimes you have really quick turnaround times, and I have to say it really is fun to work with. So without further ado, let's check out the composition, and then we're going to talk all about it. For the composition, I was thinking about my own work, and I create a lot of orchestral underscore. I thought I'm going to throw the Soaring High Strings into more of a cinematic underscore situation. There's going to be lots of orchestral demos going on, so I wanted to try something a little bit different. You can see I have used 5 instances of the Soaring High Strings. So we have the legato, and it's not actually an articulation, the octave legato, but I've kind of just separated them and called it legato octave. But it's the same legato patch, one's just playing an octave higher. Then we have the long strings and then soaring high strings. Again, it's the longs, but I'm just playing chords instead of single lines. And then soaring high strings spiccato. I wanted to show all three articulations in a composition. And then I'm using the sparkling woods, the Eric Whittaker cyclical repetitions, and then we have the legendary low strings from Abbey Road One, the Olafur piano because it is one of my all-time favourite pianos, Easter Island hits, and I've separated them into a really bassy hit and then slightly more of a percussive hit, and then the Joby Burgess percussion using the celeste. That is a library that I did pick up over Christmas and I absolutely love it. I've been thinking about it for years. Do I need it? Do I want it? I know it's a classic Spitfire library, and then obviously I picked it up and I just think it is fantastic. It all started off with some soaring high strings. So I'm going to play these two sections. So we have the legato, and I'm a big fan of just holding long sustained notes, and I detached it there but kept the legato there. I could have done this on sustains, to be fair. And then we have the longs just mirroring the piano part, just playing some just different intervals really that match the chord progression. So let's just hear those. They are rich, they are smooth, they just sound absolutely gorgeous. And then I bring in a slightly lower legato. I can really hear the legato going on there. Then, underneath what's going on, we have the sparkling woods and we have the legendary low strings. In fact, just if I play the soaring high strings and the legendary low strings, you get an idea of the thickness of the Abbey Road One legato string sections. They sound superb. Now, added to that is the Olafur piano, and hands down it is one of my all-time favourite pianos. It just sounds stunning. It is beautiful. To add a little bit of bass, added an Easter Island hit. And then to make it twinkly cinematic, I've added the celeste. It's just beautiful. And the sparkling woods from Abbey Road One, one of my favourite additions to the Abbey Road One library, just sound like this on their own. It's a spiccato. And they just give a bit more movement around the celeste part as well. I really like that. It just adds a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of magic, and of course with the piano. I did give myself only 45 minutes to create this piece of music, so it is quite repetitive, which we'll see a little bit later. But we do have a B section, and I added the Eric Whitacre quiet, which sounds gorgeous, just playing some chords. And again, this is mirroring the piano part. And also the Soaring High Strings staccato is mirroring the piano part too. And they sound brilliant. So in context together, and I have added the celeste to the piano. I do this quite often, adding... I talk about the marimba that comes with the Olafur Arnold's toolkit. So I tried it with a celeste this time, and it sounds gorgeous, just like this. And it is just a case of copy and pasting the MIDI from the piano into the celeste. So it's very dynamic, very, very delicate. Just sounds gorgeous. So in context, everything together sounds like this. And then the Soaring High Strings are actually just, again, copy and pasting and then adjusting the modulation. Nice and easy. Just adjusting that. And it's doubling it up with the choir. And then we just have a long held sustained note, which, like I say, oh, excuse me, my voice went really funny there. Like I say, the, I don't know what that was. So random. I like the sustained notes. So, yeah, doesn't need to be a legato because there's no movement whatsoever, but the timbre just sounds lovely. Anyway, let's play it. Yes, yes, less yabbering. And then it's a case of how does the piece end? Well, we go back to the A section, and it's almost like a palindrome. So you've got the A section twice, we've got a B section, got the A section twice, and it's almost like inverted. So we do have an additional scoring high string part, but that's the only change really. And it just repeats twice and then ends with this gorgeous ending. Beautiful. If I had more time, I could develop it obviously further, add some harps. It's really screaming out for harps for me, and maybe a little bit of warm brass, some percussion, because I've just used 2 Easter Islands and that's it. throughout the whole piece. And I do like the minimalist approach, but obviously there's loads of potential in ways to develop this piece. But it all boils down to the sounds. Now, of course, I'm using the Soaring High Strings, and all the high strings just sound absolutely incredible. And then additions with the Abbey Road One orchestra, so the sparkling woods and the legendary low strings, amazing. And like I say, my stalwart piano, use it all the time. I love the Eric Whittaker choir. Easter Island hits, my compositions are littered with them. I think they're fantastic. And then, of course, I'm raving about the new to me, but the classic Spitfire J.B. Burgess original percussion. It just has that Spitfire sound. It sounds magical. And there's not a huge amount of processing going on. I may have added some reverb to a couple of the instruments, and we're talking maybe 2 or 3, just to get that really, really big reverb sound that you just can't get, obviously, in the instrument itself. And then I've not adjusted any of the mixes. So it is the Simon Rhodes mixes on all of the instruments. Yeah, it's just sounding absolutely beautiful. What can I say about the Soaring High Strings from Spitfire Audio? They're recorded in Abbey Road Studio One, so they share all the same characteristics as the rest of the Abbey Road One foundations, and of course all of the add-ons. They are rich, they sound stunning, the legato is lyrical, it's romantic, and of course it does soar. The longs are very, very full, they're easy to program, and they just sound so natural. The spiccato, very, very defined, cuts through the mix, and yeah, very, very dynamic. So the sound is absolutely amazing. Of course, they are designed as an addition to Abbey Road One orchestral foundations. So if you own that, you now have legato strings should you purchase this library. But of course, if you look at the sum of its parts, all of the other additions, so the original foundations library, you have all of the sections, and then you have the sparkling woods of vibrant reeds, you have the brass. There are so many add-ons that turn this into just a full composing powerhouse. It does sound amazing, and of course everything is in the same room. I love the percussion of Abbey Road One, and I do use that in lots of my other productions as well, just because it sounds so strong. But of course, now having a full orchestra with the arrival of the high string legato especially, it's a brilliant swan song for the Abbey Road One library. Do I recommend it? Yes, if you own Abbey Road One, of course pick it up. If you just want some really, really high quality string legato, obviously high strings in this case, then certainly get it. It's £49 or dollars or euros depending where you are, which I feel is an absolute bargain. You get the 2 Simon Rhodes mixes, you've got 10 mic signals. There is so much going on with this library. It just seems fantastic value for money. All that leaves me to say is, once again, thank you so much to Spitfire Audio for sending over a copy of the Soaring High Strings so we can make this video. I really hope you enjoyed the video and of course the composition. You can really get a feel about how these strings fit into a mix and of course the inner workings of these strings. If you like what you heard, feel free to leave a like on the video and of course drop us a comment. We do try and converse and reply to as many comments as we possibly can, and we're really, really eager and interested to hear what everyone thinks about the Soaring High Strings. If you've not done so already, please check out our other videos on YouTube. We've got lots more content coming in 2024, and of course please consider subscribing to the channel. It means the world to us and it really fires us up and makes us want to keep creating videos like this for the composing community, and of course showcasing the hard work of the developers. Until next time, have a great day and keep making that beautiful music.